An amazing picture shows the beauty of the Mother Nature and a classic man-made structure. It seems to be a wooden bridge in some lush green jungle. The bridge is pretty long, and the camera angle is marvelous as the photo shows the stretch of the bridge till the end on the other side. The bridge is protected by a beautiful net on both of its sides. The photo creates an illusion of an elevated bridge that otherwise may not be the case. Finally, looking at the image, I can also guess that the bridge is built at some height as there is no ground or land visible in the photo. There is a bar graph that displays the estimated number of visits to each city by country of origin in 2018. Madrid was the most popular tourist destination in Mexico, with 62,000 visits, while London was the least popular, 20,000 visitors. Istanbul was the most popular, 70,000 visitors, while Madrid was the least popular, 5,000 visitors, 30,000. Paris, 100,000, was the most popular tourist destination in the United States, while Istanbul, 60,000, was the least popular, 60,000. People from the United States were more likely to go to other cities than Mexicans and Canadians. The beautiful atlas is shown in the picture. The continents in the picture have diversified dry forests painted with green. If we study the world map, it has scattered tropical dry forests in various parts of America, Africa, and Asia. In Southern America, the area painted with green color is on the east coast and in the middle of the map. Africa and India have larger areas covered with tropical dry jungles. Surprisingly, the map does not show Australia and New Zealand. Overall, we can say that tropical dry forests are distributed in many parts of Asia, Africa, and Americas. The average rainfall in several cities is depicted in this bar graph, which is measured in inches. There were 47.25 inches of rain on average in New York City in 2017. Honolulu came in third with 33.70 inches, followed by Dallas, 22.02 inches. Phoenix had the lowest annual rainfall average, at just 7.66 inches. New York had the most rain, while Phoenix had the least. Non-traditionally published ebooks that do not have ISBNs are included in the pie chart, which illustrates each retailer's percentage of overall U.S. ebook sales. Amazon.com sells 74% of all ebooks, while the remaining 26% are distributed among the other 5 sellers, with Google Play Books and other each accounting for 2% of the market. Overall, Amazon.com sells the most ebooks, while Google Play Books and others sell the fewest. There are 4 categories of media advertising that are compared in terms of cost, which is assessed in US dollars. At $257 in 2030, Internet advertising is estimated to be the highest, while TV advertising is predicted to be at around $55. As a whole, the cost of all media is expected to fluctuate greatly in the future, with the Internet costing the most and TV the least. In 1983 and 1993, the percentage of persons who used the medium to listen to music was shown in the pie chart above. In 1983, cassettes were the most popular format, whereas in 1993, CDs were the most popular. In 1983, LP/EP was the second most popular media, followed by cassettes in 1993. CDs and vinyl singles were the least popular in music videos in 1983 and 1993, while LP/EP and vinyl singles were the most popular. This graph shows the temperature, in degrees Fahrenheit, and CO2, in parts per million, levels over the last 400,000 years. In the past 400,000 years, temperature and CO2 levels have risen and fallen in tandem. Temperatures were close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and CO2 concentrations were approximately 280 parts per million 400,000 years ago, for example. CO2 levels decreased to roughly 190 ppm 350,000 years ago when temperatures plunged to -15 F. CO2 levels have fluctuated dramatically throughout the years, and the temperature fluctuations have paralleled one another in major ways. The horizontal bar graph is labeled as the evolution of success rate in Canada from the year of 2000 to 2003. The x-axis is marked with the years 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2003, whereas the y-axis shows success rate in percentages from 0 to 100. The yellow color represents the failure, whereas the green reflects the successes. As I can see, the highest success ratio is observed in 2002, touching almost 87.5, followed by 76% in the previous year, that is 2001. The failure ratio touches its largest mark in 2003, counting 40.6%, followed by 30% in 2000. To sum it all up, I can say that success ratio increased initially but then finally decreased, whereas the failure rate has increased in the last year of the research. There are two sorts of structures shown, one for a hot environment and another for a cold temperature. The steeply pitched roof of the cool climate building collects sunlight while storing heat and reducing heat loss. During the day, the windows of the warm climate building are closed and covered, and at night, the windows are opened to allow for ventilation so that the stored heat may be expelled. When it comes to heat storage, one form of building is better than the other since it absorbs less heat. Australia's biggest cities are depicted on this map. Darwin, Cairns, and Townsville are some of the northern cities in Australia. South Australia has three major cities, Adelaide, Melbourne, Perth. Located on Tasmania's island, Hobart is the state's southernmost metropolis. Australian territory is bordered by three other oceans, the Indian, Great Australian Bight, and Coral Sea. A wide range of large cities may be found throughout Australia. The pie graph depicts the hotel's income split across several customer segments. Most of the company's income comes from the higher-up market, which includes 80 hotels with a total of 45,912 rooms. Other hotels account for 3% of the total, which consists of 11 properties with 2,604 rooms. The majority of hotel income is generated by higher-end properties, with lower-end properties accounting for the smallest share. World population growth in emerging and industrialized countries from 1750 to 2050 is seen in this line graph, measured in billions. Around 1 billion people lived on the planet in 1750, the vast majority of them were from emerging countries. Since then, global population has grown continuously, with a noteworthy spike in 1950. By the year 2050, the global population is expected to top 10 billion people, with about 9 billion of those individuals living in developing nations. Globally, most people reside in underdeveloped nations. There has also been a steady growth in the world's population since 1750, and it is expected to continue until 2050. The city of Delhi continues to be concerned about rising pollution levels. According to a Beijing pollution source, Arkapuram had 985 micrograms per cubic meter of particle matter in the air at 9:20 p.m. during Diwali. At 3 a.m. and 2 a.m., respectively, and Bihar and Punjabi Ba recorded 758 and 853 microgram/m3 of particle matter. When compared to other filthy cities throughout the world, Shenyang, 1,157, and Beijing are not far behind, 722. Singapore, 471, on the other hand, falls considerably behind in this respect. The supplied line graph shows data on the radio and TV audiences of UK throughout a day of October-December 1992. Only 5% people who are above 4 years listened radio or watched TV from 1 a.m. till 5:30 a.m. next day, and after that, the radio audiences increased remarkably, around 25% at 9 a.m. During this time very few people watched TV. The radio listeners' percentage decreased to 5% at 7 p.m. and remained the same till the next day morning. On the other hand, the TV viewers' percentage increased after 2:30 p.m. and reached to 45% at around 9:30 p.m. The image depicts a lecture hall, such as one found in a university or a college. The lower portion of the photo shows a lecture hall with a sloped floor, allowing students in the back to observe the speaker. A whiteboard, projector, and lecture stage can be seen in the center of the photo, out in front of the audience. On either side of the room is a window with 3 panes, and the ceiling is lit with a variety of fixtures. Finally, a lecture hall with a big number of seats is important, as is the fact that certain architectural schools have given courses solely focused on its design. From 2000 to 2010, this bar graph shows where Americans went on vacation. Trips to Latvia and Portugal increased by 1,100% and 900% over this time period, respectively, whereas visits to Canada increased by just 300% during this period. Overall, Americans from the United States traveled to Latvia and Portugal more frequently than they did to Canada during the specified time period. Average weekly household expenditures from 2015 to 2016 are shown in the graph. On the left, we see food and €123, which includes meals eaten at home and out, vacations and housing, which includes rent and mortgage. Medical costs €50, while transportation costs €125, including the cost of automobiles and gasoline. These are the costs we observe when we glance around the center. On the right, we see everything from apparel and footwear to booze and cigarettes to retirement and further education. The graph, in conclusion, is quite useful and insightful. The Bermuda Triangle is depicted in the graph, which includes relevant data. A glance at the graph shows that when we look at the top, Florida is clearly visible and green is clearly visible. We can see both Bermuda and the island. The graph shows that the Gulf of Mexico and white may be seen while looking to the left of the picture. The graph shows that the Bermuda Triangle and the color blue can clearly be seen in the center of the picture. We can clearly distinguish Puerto Rico and green in the bottom right corner of the image, as shown in the graph. According to the graph, we can clearly see the Caribbean Sea and blue at the bottom of the photo. To sum it up, this is an extremely helpful map. This image is showing a bird eating from a bird feeder. The materials used to make this bird feeder are shown on the upper left corner of the image. These materials are an empty clear bottle with 2 holes, a bottle cap with a small hook on the top, and 2 wooden spoons. The main image shows the wooden spoons inserted through the holes, acting as a ledge that birds can perch on. The holes also allow the bird food to escape the bottle. Overall, the image is showing a simple way of creating your own bird feeder. 3 points answer. This image is showing a bird eating from a bird feeder. The materials used to make this bird feeder are shown on the upper left corner of the image. These materials are an empty clear bottle with 2 holes, and 2 wooden spoons. 1 point answer. This image is showing a bird eating from a bird feeder.